You're watching The 7 from WATE 6 on your side.
Good evening, I'm Bo Williams, and welcome to The 7. Our Big 7 to 7 story list starts with a moment in history as former President Donald Trump today turned himself in to be arrested, booked, and arraigned on criminal charges. Right now, the former president is headed home to his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, where he plans to give a response later this evening to the claims coming out of the indictment. The charges and court paperwork mention time and time again the claim that Trump falsified business records. So what does this all mean? We've been digging into this for you throughout the day. Our anchor, Don Hudson, joining us now here in the studio with an explanation from the man who filed the charges. Don.
Bo, really at the center of all the claims, former President Trump did not want negative stories to come out ahead of the 2016 election. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg plans to argue that the way Trump went about that violated New York state laws on elections and income tax. New York has a law against conspiring or promoting a candidacy by unlawful means. Bragg says that Trump, attorney Michael Cohen, and the publisher of several tabloids conducted what's known as a catch-and-kill scheme. Now, that refers to a method for buying the rights to stories, then not publishing them or otherwise suppressing them. Bragg claims the scheme required setting up shell companies and making false statements in business records, a crime in and of itself. And when it comes to the $130,000 listed as going to Cohen for legal services, Trump allegedly knew it was really to repay Cohen for hush money. Cohen sent to former porn actress Stormy Daniels. Now, the district attorney says if Trump had been truthful about the reason for that money, it would have been the same as admitting to a crime.
They plan to mischaracterize the repayments to Mr. Cohen as income to the New York State tax authorities. The conduct I just described and that which was charged by the grand jury is felony criminal conduct in New York State.
Now, I went through the indictment. Every single one of the 34 charges says falsifying business records in the first degree. Then it has details after that. On his way to the courthouse, by the way, Mr. Trump posted on his Truth Social site, "Can't believe this is happening." After the arraignment, he didn't say anything. However, Mr. Trump is headed home to Florida, planning to give a speech with supporters, including congressional Republicans invited to it. ABC News is planning a special report covering that speech after it's over. Meanwhile, some of our Tennessee representatives, well, they're already speaking out. Representative Chuck Fleischman tweeting, "This is clear political harassment of a former president and leading candidate for the 2024 presidential election. Congress must look into the actions of the Manhattan DA. If not, trust in our impartial legal system will be forever damaged." And Senator Marsha Blackburn tweeting, after Hillary Clinton violated federal election law, she was handed a slap on the wrist. Today's arraignment is proof that there are two tiers of justice. If they can do this to Trump, they can do this to you. By the way, some legal experts say even if Mr. Trump is convicted, he can still run for president. He can actually still be elected president. A felony conviction is not grounds for disqualification. Now, we're going to be watching for more reactions after President Trump's speech tonight, and we'll bring you a wrap-up right here tonight at 11 o'clock. Bo?
All right, Don, thank you. And from big national politics to big Tennessee politics. Tonight, supporters of Knoxville State Representative Gloria Johnson and fellow Democrats marched from Crouch Park to the city-county building, upset that Republicans in the legislature have taken steps to boot her out. You know, we told you last night about the move to expel Johnson and two other Tennessee House Democrats for taking part in a demonstration last week, including a moment when one of them used a bullhorn in the House chamber. Their move was to recognize hundreds of demonstrators who had gathered at the Capitol last week in the wake of the Covenant School shooting, urging lawmakers to take action on gun safety. Johnson says the three knew that speaking out of turn was breaking the rules, but she and the others felt the cause was worthy. But Johnson points out that only about 20 seconds of their comments between bills came while the House was not in recess. None of that during the bullhorn part when their microphones have been cut off, and she doesn't feel that her voters should lose their voice in Nashville over such a short outburst.
I know I'm on the right side of history. It was worth it to me to break a rule, to speak to the gun violence that is happening in our schools, in our churches, in our restaurants, in our grocery stores. We have got to talk about it.
We also spoke with Republican Representative Jason Zachary. He says the three Democrats' actions are unprecedented, describing them as inciting a mob, saying that lawmakers always have the chance to speak for their constituents when they stay within the rules.
We can't have anarchy when we're representing and conducting ourselves on behalf of the people that we represent. And so I would push back and say she did not represent her constituents well. She didn't represent the community well. Well, she's been here long enough to know that there is a strict rule and decorum we follow. And you can't incite a mob on the House floor when the situation is as intense as it is.
Now, on top of this, last night a confrontation between Democrats and Republicans got physical. Protesters in the House chamber began arguing from the gallery. Lawmakers took videos on their phone. Representative Justin Jones was recording next to Representative Justin Lafferty when Lafferty hit Jones's phone out of his hand. Now, we just learned from our state capitol newsroom reporter Chris O'Brien that Representative Jones has now filed a police report. As a matter of fact, earlier Lafferty said in a statement, quote, "Representative Jones came to my desk, and as I turned, he shoved his phone in my face in a threatening manner." He continued saying, quote, "I reacted as anyone would. Attempts to characterize this as anything else are misleading and false." Our next Big 7 at 7 story for you tonight. Names released of the victims in a shooting last week in Roane County. Their names: Amanda Wyndham, Kelsey Wilson, and Rocky King. Wyndham died at the scene. Wilson and King were both sent to UT Medical Center. Sheriff Jack Stockton told us last week the suspect, Brian Wilson, walked into Midtown Auto Body on Roane State Highway in Harriman and shot 3 people. According to the sheriff's office and the TBI, the shooting stemmed from an ongoing domestic dispute with the family. Rocky King's brother said as soon as he heard about the shooting, he rushed to Rockwood from Middle Tennessee.
When I got there, the scene was completely blocked off. Nobody could get any information. My mom and dad were already at the scene, and they were in a pretty much meltdown. And I was able to find out that they had flown my brother to UT Hospital, and I took my mom and dad up there as well.
John King says his brother is back home, but has a long road to recovery ahead. Our next big story for you, a national manhunt ending with a man dead here in Knoxville. That man has now been identified as Roy C. McGrath, a former Maryland official who was on the run. The FBI described this as an agent-involved shooting, but we don't know who fired the shot that killed McGrath. This morning, the FBI confirmed that McGrath was transported to the hospital yesterday evening and later died. We told you last night at 11 o'clock about the FBI and other law enforcement agencies going to the intersection of Kingston Pike and Lovell Road in West Knox County, checking on a report that McGrath had been spotted. McGrath was the focus of a nationwide manhunt. He was facing trial after being indicted in March of 2021 on a slew of fraud charges going back to his time as the former chief of staff for ex-Maryland Governor Larry Hogan. Plus, he was accused of embezzling more than $100,000. Another big story tonight, hearing from the police officers who stopped a school shooter. Metro Nashville Police Department made the 2 officers who took down Covenant school shooter Audrey Hale available at a news conference earlier today. Now, the officers say they've trained for not only how to respond to active shooters, but how to do so under immense stress with alarms blaring and tensions high, as was the situation that day.
We came upon a T intersection. Sergeant Mathis was on one side and I was on the other side. We didn't know if the shooter was to the left or the right. It was, smoke was everywhere. The fire alarm was going off. It was somewhere right around that point we heard another shot, and so it told us that the shooter was to our right.
From witnessing these individuals and several other officers entering into the school, it reminded me of a scripture that said, "Who shall I send?" And it says, "Send me." And I believe these individuals, along with every Metro Nashville police officer, fire department personnel on that date, answered that call.
Tonight at 11, we will hear more from the officers about those moments they stepped into action. Our last Big 7 story for you tonight, a sign of how much Knoxville's housing market has changed. Knoxville Area Association of Realtors putting out its Housing Affordability Index, saying it is at its lowest point since the 1980s. Realtors say Knoxville's typical household had less than 70% of the income necessary to purchase the median-priced home.